Steve Brown. When our chair Christian Lemieux asked me to say a few words about Steve, I asked, what can I possibly say about Steve Brown that's not already been said? Something nice? She asked plaintively. She doesn't know me very well. Steve was born in Orillia, Ontario in 1949. A picturesque town on the shores of Lake Simcoe. And it's home also of another Stephen Leacock, who I suspect motivated Steve's career choice with his wise words, "In ancient times they had no statistics, so they had to fall back on lies." For ancient times here, you can read Parliament Hill. This may well be a picture of his happy family on a Sunday outing. And this, his family home. Or it may not be. I had to do what Steve would do in the absence of real data. I imputed. Steve came to the University of Waterloo in Canada's centennial year, 1967, and graduated in 1971 with a B. Math degree, graduating again in 1974 with a PhD dissertation titled A Mathematical Model of Aging Processes, with reference to heart disease, written under Bill Forbes. I would say he lived his research topic. He is surely an enviable model of the aging process. He joined the faculty in 1974, almost 40 years ago, as an assistant professor. Here he is at an early stage of his career, trying to explain why 98% confidence is better than 95%. His work features several trilogies: Mathematical Contributions to the Study of Risk Factors in Cardiovascular Disease 1 to 3, A Mathematical Model of Aging Processes 1 to 4, I guess that's a court-logy. Among my very favorite papers are the trace metal levels in human tissues 1 to 6, which I guess is a sexlogy. Steve and or his co-investigators traveled around collecting body parts in picnic coolers, allegedly from authorized dealers like pathologists, and returned them to Waterloo for analysis. We were never really certain what explanation they planned to use if stopped by police or border guards, or the confusion that would ensue should there be an unfortunate accident and the essential ingredients of hundreds of people spilled from a single car onto the Highway 401. Where were the U of W lawyers then? Beer played a very important part in the early days of our department, and where there was beer, there was surely Steve. Sometimes chased down with cake. Now, how many of us can honestly say that we've never been caught on the job with our pants down? Well, Steve can't. The unusual part of this story is that he was dropping his pants for money, a United Way charity event, thereby exposing what I hope is his darkest secret, that he wears Laurier underwear and Western undershirts. Now, I planned to demonstrate this trick, turning my own pants inside out while the legs are tied together with rope, but the dean seemed to think we're running short of time. Steve is irreplaceable. When I interview new faculty, I always require that they turn their pants inside out with their legs tied together. And when they refuse, I inevitably vote no. After many, many complaints, I am no longer on the hiring committee. In all of his roles, teacher, researcher, administrator, department chair, director of CEMC, and as Associate Dean for External Relations, Steve was meticulous about details. Indeed, in this extremely rare photo, taken during construction of the math building, I discovered a detail overlooked: someone inspecting the construction of his future office. I blew up this section of the photo for you in an effort to identify this person. Indeed, not at all surprising that it's Steve. Who else wore Laurier underwear? I was always jealous of Steve for his good looks, his perpetual smile, his easygoing manner, which I was quite sure were the drugs he was on. And I was very, very glad when GQ turned down this proposed magazine cover. I would also like to assure Cynthia and Beth that Steve and I, who go back well over 30 years and have appeared together at many, many functions, were never more than just good friends. Here we are, the day they legalized gay marriage in Canada, and here shortly thereafter. Well, Steve has always had a taste for the theatrical, having participated in musical theater, often with his son Michael, an accomplished musician. Most recently in Hairspray, he wore hot dogs on his head. And he is reputedly doing Anne of Green Gables for a second time. Perhaps I should rephrase. This taste for theater spills over into the classroom. Here he is, lecturing, while rehearsing for a role in The Three Musketeers. No one dared, as I understand it, leave this class early. As chair, or associate chair, or dean, Steve always had an open door and sometimes apparently barefooted policy. You knew you could ask him for just about anything. He would turn you down in any case. Occasionally, in my case, this open door policy turned into an open window policy. In general, Steve was a model chair, teacher, researcher, and colleague. He is the consummate departmental and university citizen. He smiled in the face of adversity. Note, I'm not telling you what adversity's last name is. There's another Stephen Leacock quote I would like to close with. Life we learn too late is in the living, the tissue of every day and hour. I think Steve learned this far earlier than most of us. Perhaps it's the Aurelia factor. And here were some colleagues and an electronic CV, just in case somebody who views this wants to hire him.